A couple of years after meeting Cheyenne, I was horseback riding with my family and a good friend of ours, and I was thrown from the horse. I went off of the horse head first, and I wound up shattering both my arms, left and right, all at the same time. My radiuses were broken in 7 places each, and my ulnas each were broken in one place at the head. The head of the ulna had come off on both arms, so it was a pretty significant break. So, you know, me being me, I took control of the situation lying there in the woods. I had some people, you know, take my jewelry off because they didn't want them cutting my rings. I had them take my watch off, and I sent somebody back to my friend's farm because we had been doing some work on his tack room. So I sent them in. I told them where my cutoffs were. I said, you need to go back to the farm and get the cutoffs. We got to split my arms. And they had a Jeep there at the farm, and we had them bring the Jeep over to where I was in the woods. Loaded me up, splinted my arms, got me to the ER in Quakertown, and they said, okay, well, your arms are significantly broken, and we're going to have to go right to the ER and put in pins and plates and the whole 9 yards. And I said, well, no, I want you to cast them. I said, I want you to set them, and I want you to cast them. And he didn't understand, but he finally acquiesced and set and casted the arms, having no faith at all that my arms would remain stable. He said he would agree to do it for 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks I had to report to his office for new x-rays, and at that time, if my arms had not stayed where he placed them, that we were going right to the ER. And I knew from my experiences in martial arts that if you can harness your energy to break things, I really felt strongly that you can also harness your energy to heal them. And working with Cheyenne, I felt like I had a really good shot of being able to heal my arms naturally without an invasive procedure. So they got Cheyenne on the phone, and she was luckily free that night. I had my friend drive me right over to your farm, and you were waiting there for me. We went into your office, and I got right on the table, and you started working on me. And I had every confidence in the world that together that we were going to be able to make this thing happen. I know that the medical community, you know, was sure that pins and plates were going to go into my arms, but I was completely positive of the exact opposite, that there wasn't going to be any need for a surgery and pins and plates, that together we were going to be able to do this thing. And we worked together for about an hour that night, and then I guess maybe 4 other occasions at your office. Actually, 3 of them were at your office, because I remember you came to my home the one time. And you also did some remote healing on the telephone. I remember being in a hotel room in New York after the accident and being on the phone with you. Well, not really being able to hold the phone, but the phone lying on my chest and on speakerphone while you talked to me and we worked together. And the experience that I had over that time as we went through this process together, some things happened that I didn't anticipate or expect. As we did the work, there were a couple of times that we were so connected that I could actually physically feel you touching my arm. I could feel your hands on my skin, and I could feel my bones literally warming up and just the energy radiating through. And I think that the thing that surprised me the most was that I could feel your hands on my skin, and there was 1.5 inches of plaster, you know, separating my skin from your hand, but I could feel it. And it was an amazing process to go through, you know. And when we went back to the doctor's office, it was 14 days after the initial event, they were sure that they were going to have to go to surgery that day. My guess is if you would have looked at his calendar, it was probably cleared from my appointment on, because he was so sure that we were putting pins and plates in. When they put the x-rays up in the light box, my arms, my radiuses were completely healed. They were whole. There were no calcification lines that you would normally see in a healing bone. The only remnant, or the only effect of the break that you could see was that in both arms, the head of the radius was still off and floating kind of in space, because there was no way to reattach that. It was just a process of waiting for my body to reabsorb it. But that was the only visual sign that there had been this traumatic break to these arms. But I also attribute it to the work that we were doing, because that work wasn't just healing the bones, it was healing the tendons and the ligaments. I mean, trauma happened everywhere inside those arms. My fingers were broken, not just, you know, my arms, and you know, all of these things over the course of these sessions were healed, you know, to the point where everything was kind of off the charts from a medical community standpoint. So it was pretty amazing.